how do you see it now? What would you like to see regarding the Republican Party?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. I am a lifelong Republican, and I was raised by two parents who are Republicans. My dad actually started his life as a regular Democrat. So he saw his first paycheck. And literally saw the taxes coming out and said, whoa, yeah. No. But I myself was raised as a Republican because in my Republican formulation, this party should represent empowerment of the citizen versus the government. That's my Republican Party. We don't spend what we don't have to. Thrift is one of the 912 virtues, as we know. I think it should be a paramount virtue for this government, along with the other 11, the 11 other values that mean so much. And I try to live my life that way for sure. So respecting the public dollar is the way I was raised. That was what I was to expect in my government. As a legislator and as a Republican, that's what I expect in my party. I like to look at some of the current leaders in the Republican Party, and among the congressional Republicans, I think we've got some folks that are very solidly on the side of the taxpayers. I mean, they have been our bulwark against some of these programs, as we know. With Senator 41, Scott Brown, we have a bulwark against healthcare nationalization and against cap and tax. And one hopes against the stimulus bills that will simply confiscate more money from you, for which we'll get nothing in return. I think Paul Ryan, as a leader and a thinker, has some very impressive ideas about how we, again, treat the public's money as a cherished resource, not to be squandered. It does not belong to the federal government. It belongs to us. And indeed, that's another one of the, that's one of the 9 principles. The government is answerable to you. You own the government, not the other way around. What you earn belongs to you. Charity cannot be forced upon you. Redistribution cannot be forced upon you. And I think that the Republicans in our national leadership have adhered much more closely to those principles than have the leaders of the Democratic Party in Congress. And my intention is to be one of those Republicans who feels very firmly that fiscal prudence is of paramount importance now. Yes, sir.
If I may follow up with that.
Sure.
Do I understand you to say the Republican Party has been much more prudent than the Democratic Party in expenditures?
I am well aware, painfully aware, and disappointed that the Republican Party, members of the Republican Party in this Congress have not always represented fiscal prudence in the way that I feel they should. And I know that there are Republicans in Congress who feel that way as well. And I would say that viewpoint is represented more consistently by certain Republican leaders in Congress who I choose to emulate than it is by most of the Democrats to whom I have listened in Congress. The blue dog Democrats talk a good game sometimes, but they end up voting with Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, whom I find reprehensible. They do not respect you. They do not respect us, and they don't represent our best interests. But could we do better? Yes, sir, absolutely. And we will.
I would like to ask you what your thoughts are on the Federal Reserve.
In other words, should we audit the Fed and should we Fed Bernanke?
I would like to abolish it.
I've educated myself reasonably well on it. I don't claim to know everything there is to know about the Federal Reserve in terms of saying, what is the alternative? If you want to abolish it, what would your alternative proposal be? I don't have one. I do feel from what I have read and what I know that the Fed can play a valuable role. I think the Fed under Ben Bernanke acted imprudently in certain ways in this, in the financial crisis that we currently face. I put even more blame on Tim Geithner. I think that the decisions about bailing out, AIG is the one that really, I think, most of us find the most troubling. That was billions and billions of taxpayer dollars that did not need to be directed in the way they were. And to the extent that the Feds had a role in monetizing some of that debt, if you will, I can understand why a lot of people want the Fed to be audited. I think the ideal is that it be insulated from political decision making, but you know, the counter argument that people make is no such thing as being insulated from political decision making. So,
is that something you would support in order with the Fed?
Inherently, I'm not opposed to it. I will tell you that I'd want to see more about the specific legislation, you know, in terms of a permanent situation. Should we always have, you know, a congressional monitoring body over the Fed? I'm not sure that, I don't know if that would be too much politicized. I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, I have a very open mind about changing the way this is. Yes, sir.
In lieu of national healthcare reform changes, and I'm going to preface that since you are in position.
Yes.
My husband's been in the medical field for close to 25 years. The last 10 years have been decrease in salary, increase of his electric, his rent, his reimbursement to the point of $2 a visit. And so what are your ideas of healthcare reform affecting the insurance companies, or how would you propose changes instead of the national healthcare reform?
The fundamental approach in the nationalization of healthcare is that I simply do not believe that the federal government can administer 1/6 of our economy effectively and efficiently. And the fairer way to do it, the American way to do it, the way to empower all of us, is to allow the marketplace to do what it does best. We should be able to take care of our own health care. We should not have to have the federal government do that for us. Which is not to say that we don't worry about those who are neediest among us. But what I would propose is this, and these are concepts that won't be familiar to you because, you know, these are things that folks have been talking about, especially on the Republican side. I would propose, for example, that we open up the marketplace for insurance across the country. New York State and every other state has barriers in place that forbid individuals and small businesses from buying insurance policies that are marketed from across the country. So inherently, they limit the marketplace. When they limit the marketplace, what happens? The cost rises because, of course, we lack choices. Quality and choice is, again, as I mentioned earlier, quality and choice and innovation are what has made American medicine the greatest in the world when it's working right. So if we allow the marketplace to work in terms of insurance choices, if we allow people to have health savings accounts as individuals and small businesses, which is not the case right now in New York State, for example, people can put their own money away in pre-tax. They can buy a catastrophic policy in much the same way as we do for collision insurance. They can spend on their routine care out of their health savings account. That's consumer responsive medical insurance, if you will, and it just makes a lot more sense. It should be tried. The reason for opposition, I don't think is particularly clear. You know, it makes sense just to try these things. New York State also, as does every